Yo, what's good, YouTube? If y'all don't know me, I'm Five. Guys. Fashion designers have not evolved. Oh, wait, what's the title of this video? The death of real fashion designers. Like, back then, you see that one dude from Louis Vuitton throw that shit on. You know what I'm saying? Damn, I look, he rhymed a little bit. That one dude from Louis Vuitton. Okay. Now it's like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying Flight can't dress, because I ain't gonna lie, Flight got that shit on. You know what I'm saying? Flight got that shit on, but it ain't the same. You know what I'm saying? It ain't the same. Now on TikTok tonight? Yeah, I am, but I'm gonna get on TikTok later, like around after the live, probably like around like 10. I wanted to hop on here first because I was already eating my food and I just reacted to some videos. So let's get right into the video.
Past year or so, some of the internet's biggest and most popular live streamers have slowly started to invade the fashion community. Whether it's Hassan Palpatine getting fashion content creators Wisdom K and Frugal Aesthetic on his stream in the hopes that they'll validate his atrocious fits, or the appearance of people like Jason Lewin and Bruce Drop 'em Off on the runway in Paris for 424's Fall Winter 2026 collection. But at the very same show...
I'm like, why the fuck they got... okay, at Walmart right now. What you doing at Walmart? What you getting? Bro, what the fuck is this fit? I was thinking the same thing, how like Clive was also on a runway that day. I mean, Clive is a good looking dude, but sometimes I just get whoever, because what the fuck is Bruce doing? Ain't no way you're putting up to... you look at this shit on a mannequin, you're like, oh yeah, bro, I'm wearing that shit. Come on.
For 424's Fall Winter 2026 collection. But at the very same show, sat at the front row, we also saw arguably one of the world's largest streamers, Kai Cenat. I found it very ironic that they sat him next to Edward Skeletrix of all people, but I'm getting ahead of myself. This isn't crazy news or something new. Famous people with no tangible connection to fashion or the industry being invited to shows is something that happens all the time. Yeah. What makes this specifically interesting is that not long before, while on stage at the 2025 Streamer Awards, Kai announced that he wants to become a fashion designer. What? Very soon after, he proved that he wasn't bluffing and drops a video titled I Quit, in which he announces he's quitting streaming to go all in on becoming a fashion designer and launching his brand, Vivette. But before all the Kai Cenat fans start freaking out that they won't be able to digitally hang out with their best friend who doesn't even know they exist anymore, it's okay. He's started a second channel where he regularly uploads long videos documenting his foray into making clothes, as well as a very public self-improvement grind. He's still involved, according to the gospel, that is the first results that come up on Google must include that Atomic Habits book. The gospel that is the first results that come up on Google must include that Atomic Habits book. I've seen people online say that this hard departure from streaming was sparked by a recent breakup, which, yeah, maybe that's true. I guess he did upload a video of himself listening to Blonde by Franco.
These bitches want Nike, you're looking for a check someday and likely say you need a ring like Carmelo. I do think, like, him not being, like, breaking up with his girl kind of, like, played a role into it a little bit. You know, some, like, you know, a lot, she was involved at the end for some of the biggest things at the end. So like being around that world, you know, shifting to something else, it gives you like a better like it clears your mind a little bit more.
I have done all kinds of deep research for videos on this channel, but I draw the line at researching the dating lives of live streamers. For some reason, men who are obsessed with self-improvement discourse always have this weird fantasy of a woman wronging them in some way, which sparks their grind of looks maxing, dropshipping, and trying to move to Dubai. Basically this image. So I think that's somewhat being projected onto Kai, even though it's quite clear from the I Quit video that he'd been gearing up for this for at least a few months before the Streamer Awards at the end of the year. Regardless, this career change is very abrupt and out of nowhere, considering Kai has shown little to no interest in fashion before this speech and pivot into the industry. And no, being an absurdly
his fits, like, once he got rich, his fits got tougher. But I mean, that's just how it's always gonna be. Like, what do you expect, bro? If you got no money to buy Prada, nigga, how the fuck you gonna dress up in Prada? It doesn't really make sense. So, yeah, bro. It's like me, I'm wearing this Nike shirt right now, and you guys might think, yo, this nigga don't really be putting that shit on. Even though I do be putting that shit on, I do. But like, eventually he's gonna be to a point where like, oh shit, this nigga really puts that shit on. And I will pivot into some fashion designing too.
Public figure and having a stylist does not count as being into fashion. Before I get more into this, I want to address the inevitable comments about me just being a hater simply because Kai Cenat is trying something new or following his lifelong... Sorry, I mean year or two long dreams or whatever, because this is the most popular pro Kai Cenat becoming a designer argument I've seen online. Firstly, I do not concern myself with the opinions of people who donate money to multi-millionaires whose jobs consist of rotting in their bedrooms and occasionally stuffing their faces with Uber Eats while they leech content off other creators. Secondly, streamers colliding with the fashion industry is like the equivalent of finding a gold...
Bro. The fuck, bro? Nigga can react to a video on live and eat his food at the same time? What the fuck, bro? No, because why is he talking to me, bro? Did you hear what the fuck you just said? Did you hear that shit? Did you just hear that shit?
Donate money to multi-millionaires whose jobs consist of rotting in their bedrooms and
well, I'm not a millionaire yet,
stuffing
but
their faces with Uber Eats while they leech content off other creators. Secondly, streamers colliding with the fashion industry is like the equivalent of finding a gold scar for the type of content I make on this channel. You can't expect me not to talk about this. Jokes aside, I will be constructive with my criticism and use it as a springboard to go into the wider conversation about the issue or environment that I think the fashion industry is currently in, where we are seeing more and more already famous people entering the fashion industry. But before we go any further, here's a quick word from today's sponsor, Raycon. With the Winter Olympics and Super, they said a causing out your brand. The bone conduction to get back down to is what the Kaikon for quitting streaming to become a fashion designer situation can be boiled down to is the idea of wanting to be great at doing something that you love versus wanting to be seen doing something you think is cool. If you watch the I Quit video, it will become very apparent that Kai falls into the latter. The whole video focuses on painting Kai as this visionary for quitting to pursue fashion design. He talks about not wanting to be pigeonholed as a streamer, how going to Japan got him interested in clothes, his big announcement moment at the Streamer Awards, and then him being surrounded and involved with the fashion design and production process to kickstart his brand Vivette, which will rise from the ashes of his streaming career. But when the video does actually focus in on Kai's creative input or ideas related to fashion design, it's honestly kind of hard to watch. And it's not even the parts where he's struggling to distress a t-shirt or him using a sewing machine for the first time. That's fine, I probably can't do that shit any better. It's the times where he confidently says really convoluted things that don't really make sense, or the parts where he ignorantly displays how little, I guess, fashion literacy he has. About 5 minutes into the video, we see him viewing boot samples being made somewhere in Italy, which are clearly vintage style hiking boots made with crocodile skin pattern embossed leather with an extra D-ring eyelet on the toe cap. At this point in the video,
I don't even know what the fuck, bro. So, that person wouldn't even have the right fashion literacy. Bro should become a fashion designer himself. You know all that? I don't even know all that.
I thought, fair enough, they ain't quite greedy 20s, but I wasn't expecting him to be making actual leather boots, and I can respect that. I've definitely seen the extra eyelet on the toe cap thing before, but it's still a nice extra detail. Following this, I was immediately reminded that this is a man who, up until a few months ago, made his living by screaming "Gyat" and getting sturdy, and not the second coming of Lee Alexander McQueen. We see a close-up of the boot, and Kai starts complaining that the eyelets at the top have been left open. The way this sequence was edited and presented in the video was to paint Kai as having an awareness of every detail and spotting a mistake that didn't adhere to his creative vision, essentially to depict him as a good fashion creative. Those open eyelets are called speed hooks and are included on taller hiking boots by design, so it doesn't take ages to get the boots on and off. If they were just the normal D-ring eyelets like Kai wants, then the ankle shaft would be really narrow and hard to put your foot in and out of. I don't even think this is some niche fashion knowledge, it's kind of common sense if you've ever worn shoes like this before. Bro is literally in a shoemaker's studio in Italy pointing out a functional design feature as a flaw in front of the person who made them right before his eyes. This might seem nitpicky to some people, but I think Kai Cenat is too successful for me to give him any beginner's leeway. This isn't a 16-year-old kid with his mum's sewing machine starting to make some of those horrible looking upcycled jeans you see on Depop that no one wears.
Just because he's successful doesn't mean that he has to know everything. Oh, this probably running away. Yeah, because he's successful doesn't mean he like has to know everything. Like, bro, like he's always gonna make mistakes, and that's a whole different field. A year from now, Kai Cenat is gonna be so literacy, fashionably smart. that he's gonna be able to do all these things and talk about it. And what are you gonna say at that point?
More money than anyone would realistically need for multiple lifetimes, and has navigated the business of being an internet personality extremely well over the years, and weaved his way through controversies in a manner that it's clear that he is a clever individual, or at least clever enough to pay someone with more expertise than him to tell him what to do. If he wants to be taken seriously as a designer, then he's going to have to deal with shit-talking internet keyboard warrior critics like myself.
Right.
I do respect that he's actually learning to sew, but announcing your brand and plans to be a fashion designer first, and then showing the world how little you know while already getting started on the brand and actively hiring people just seems insane to me. Kai has enough money where he could have just quit and gone off the radar and been all cryptic for a few years, only to come back with a fully fleshed out brand and having already put in the hours instead of immediately announcing his rebrand and himself as a designer. You might say, well, that's a risk to his popularity, but that's the point. If he truly cared about the craft like he says and not simply making himself the focal point of attention, then he would be willing to take that risk. He could have even tried to use his connections to get an internship at a
No, but okay. This is the last time I'm stopping the video. My bad. I know you're so fucking dirty from that. Do that shit. I mean, that real. But it's like, at the same time, you don't really know if that shit's really gonna work. Like, obviously you like it, but it's an investment. You don't really know what's gonna come out of it. So it's like, you might as well still have it focus around you. If it goes bad, well, it was just a chapter. Let's get back to streaming. If it goes well, now you drift out because now this is working, successful.
Fashion house like Kanye did, or even better, attend a fashion school. Imagine if Kai Cenat went to Central St. Martin's. If you walk around Cold Drops Yard in King's Cross where that school is based, it already looks like a VR chat lobby. Imagine adding Kai Cenat to that mix, that would be so jokes. Even if he just quit, said nothing, went away for a few months, maybe made a few fashion show appearances to drum up some intrigue,
hey, sorry for the pause.
started releasing stuff like those hiking boots, then I think there would be a more positive buzz around Kai and not the absolute ridicule he's been receiving on the internet at the moment. To me, the vet seems like a bad combination of the Dunning-Kruger effect mixed with the ego of a live
Wait, what was it? No, nothing. Competence guru.
Streamer. He wants to be a fashion designer, but he obviously can't let go of the lifestyle of a streamer. Showing everything, including being a clueless beginner, is a very streamer mindset, but I don't think this will help him in the way he thinks it will. The fashion industry is all about perception and image, so failing in private is actually valuable, especially in his case because he simply doesn't have the option to fail in front of a tiny audience like most brand owners get to do when they first start out.
Right.
Even if he does start releasing good clothes, I do think he has already tainted the brand's image and set it up to be something no one can ever take seriously, other than his already
what is this? What are these pants? There's no way he ever wore that before. I got
established die-hard fans who would probably buy his toenail clippings if given the opportunity. The only aspect of this brand who would probably buy his toenail
There's no better fit than joining group study session with cats
clippings if given the opportunity. The only aspect of this brand that I think seems somewhat calculated.
I love you guys. So whatever's in here, it's the same thing. Like at the end of the day, if I'm getting started, you guys are getting started with me. Put it together.
And if clever is the self-improvement grind set angle that Kai is taking, the amount he talks about being put into a box just feels like he wants to be written off purely so he can feel like and present himself as the underdog. But having wealth and influence is the cheat code to a successful fashion business, which he already has. He is not the underdog. He doesn't need to make good clothes. He doesn't even need to sell a reasonable amount of products to sustain the business. He doesn't have to deal with the financial pressure of starting a small brand that usually leads out a lot of shitty brands. A year from now, he can just be selling any amount of clothes per drop because the profits won't matter when you've got that IV drip of streaming funds being injected into the brand. This plus getting some of his famous and influential friends to wear his clothes, and then I'm sure he will happily gloat about how everyone, including that English prick fashion YouTuber Wrong Trousers, wrote him off at the start. But look at him now. He has a fashion brand that sells out and famous people wear it. That's a success story, right? You can't be the underdog when you've entered a game you can't lose. There's no art to this brand. Its meaning is purely based on it simply existing. There's no...
you saying what? Kai learned to read before you lock in? Kai don't know how to read. I still know how to read better than Kai. W3, W5,
storytelling, world building, mystique, or even just pure technical fashion design. If Kai truly cared about clothes and fashion in the way he wants everyone to believe, then why didn't he use his platform, influence, or wealth to uplift the community surrounding it and maybe support and promote little known or up and coming designers instead of just making everything about himself?
I don't get these people,
obviously,
bro. Like, why does that matter? Like, why does Kai have to do that? If obviously he could, but at the same time, it's like think about it. It's like an NBA player doesn't want to like start playing soccer or streaming, and just because he was an NBA player, it's like, oh my god, let's bring attention to all the low streamers just because I have no, like, bro, get it out the mud like everybody else is.
This issue is beyond just
get it out the mud, and we're all grinding.
We are even seeing
like,
this sort of thing happening.
No big YouTuber picked up Kai when he was street. You know what I'm saying? When he first started making videos and stuff, and said, hey, bro, I'm the biggest YouTuber on this. I'm just gonna uplift everybody. I mean, some people do that. So it's just at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. You don't want to be seen like you got a handout. Like, and he probably doesn't want to be giving out handouts or doesn't feel the need to.
How normalized it is for celebrities to enter the fashion industry or being hired into senior roles such as creative director.
Oh my god, this guy's gonna make a video about me one day.
A recent and quite controversial example of this is Jaden Smith being appointed as the first ever men's creative director for Christian Louboutin in September 2025, with his first collection being shown in Paris earlier this year for Men's Fashion Week.
Woo!
I would like to point out that Jaden Smith has definitely been into fashion for a very long time.
Yeah, he has.
As fashion creator Julian Carter pointed out in his video, he's made and worn a lot of custom clothes over the years, so it's not really the same case like we have with Mr. Kai Cenat.
Oh my god,
does that mean I think he should be a creative director at a luxury fashion house? Oh hell nah. It takes people whole careers to reach a position many rungs below this with tons more experience and skill. Just because Jaden Smith was born into a famous family and made some Depop upcycle look in our genes at some point does not mean he is the correct pick for a role like that. His first collection, which was recently shown at Paris Fashion Week,
we're watching the death of real fashion designers.
Same creative depth.
Like now, everyone's like, anybody could be a fashion designer, and I mean, I just think this guy is taking it too seriously, but because I feel like anybody could become a fashion designer. If you have an idea, you want to bring it out there, that makes you a designer.
High school students' art project.
So
I feel like red is the main character of the stories that we tell, and I feel like it's very powerful color.
I imagine somebody unearthing one of these shoes in the future and using this paintbrush to slowly reveal the shoe that's coming out of the red sands of time.
There's no creative coherence throughout the collection, and a lot of the pieces seem very derivative. Like these shoes just seem like a straight up copy from 424. Oh yes, the exact same image that has been circulating social media recently as a result of the swag fashion revival just so happens to be the inspiration for a new shoe for Louboutin, the brand that only hired Jaden Smith as a CD in a clear attempt to attract a Gen Z customer base. Definitely not a calculated business move and was all done because of friendship, like Jaden Smith says. I've been using super recent examples of celebrities getting involved in the fashion industry, but this sort of thing has actually been going on for a while. Victoria Beckham has been desperate to be taken seriously as a fashion designer since the 2000s, yet has never come out with anything vaguely innovative or even creatively unique. Similar to Kai Cenat, her
I don't even know. At this point, this space is so oversaturated. You really can't come out with like nothing new. Like, it's like anything you come out, is it gonna flop like super bad, or is it just gonna be like a copy of somebody else's stuff?
To be taken seriously as a fashion designer.
I mean, when I start dropping my clothing brand, my shit gonna be crazy.
It's widely known that the business would have gone under at some point if it wasn't being.
You have Des finally dripped down, bro.
So how can that ever be used as a legitimately successful fashion business?
What?
Meanwhile, Martine Rose was doing bar shifts in Soho well into her 30s to support her fashion career, which only really took off once she was hired as a menswear consultant at Balenciaga by Demna in 2015. If another designer hadn't recognized her talent and hired her at Balenciaga, then maybe Martine, who is an incredible designer, wouldn't be in the position she is today. How unfair is that when you look at how celebrities get treated in this industry?
It's unfair, but at the same time, it's not unfair. You know why? Because these celebrities bring an audience that are gonna shop. This person is a hit or miss. Because if their stuff doesn't sell, then okay, we just had a fucking, I don't even know who the hell he just mentioned. And you see, maybe it's because I'm not fashionably aware, obviously, but she's probably super big now. But before, I could imagine nobody knew her. So then why would I bring somebody in that is a hit or miss? Could be good, could be bad, when I can bring fucking Jaden Smith and he's gonna bring 10 million people to buy my shit.
Does this mean I support the idea that only traditionally
Well,
trained
all good
people
that
who
when you
went
put
to
out
fashion
merch
school
game.
should be
If
creative
I put
directors?
out merch,
Absolutely not.
you're gonna be the
Virgil
drippiest you've
Abloh
been in
and
your
Hedi
entire
Slimane
life.
both did not have a traditional education.
You gonna
or
finally
training
get
in
a
fashion,
girlfriend.
but both had such a monumental impact on the modern fashion zeitgeist. I also think there are definitely exceptions to my general opinion that celebrities should stay the fuck away from the fashion industry. Obviously, he's gone off the rails in recent years, and to be honest, his designs have been pretty shit in recent times, but you can't deny the monumental impact that Kanye West has had on men's fashion in so many different ways throughout the 2010s. These people got to their positions in the highest echelons of the fashion industry in spite of their lack of traditional fashion education, but they also had to prove themselves first before anyone took them seriously. Hedi Slimane crafted the skinny rocker look that clearly just sells no matter what fashion house he's at. Kanye's personal style and general taste in fashion was clearly so innovative and influential to modern menswear that it got to a point where it just made sense for him to be a designer as well as a music artist. And Virgil had to pioneer streetwear as high fashion, which has been an industry norm ever since. Circling back to Kai Cenat and Vivette, I've seen a lot of people making
Kanye
jokes
looking to
online
go?
saying
Nah,
stuff
okay.
like, bro thinks he's the second
When it comes to
coming of
clothes and
Virgil,
music,
which, to be honest,
bro's
I
goated.
don't think is far off his thinking. He's gone down that same business grind set bro approach to fashion, which, as I discuss in this video, tends to be done by people who are inspired by Virgil, but usually for the wrong reasons. I think the impact of Virgil is a double-edged sword, and it unfortunately inspired people to covet his position rather than his responsibilities and love for the game and craft of fashion. His design principles have been mythologized, then nitpicked and taken out of context to be used as a crutch for lazy, derivative, or boring design. This is why we have so many Instagram slop brands nowadays. Just because Virgil did it doesn't mean you should too. I understand
That's a
that
hard
the fashion
jacket right
industry
there.
is already riddled with nepotism and useless idiots who probably don't deserve the jobs that they have, and this tends to be the first counter-argument you hear when someone
Why
complains
are you
about
showing
celebrities
Vegeta, though?
entering the fashion industry. But this is just a whataboutism. I personally think we shouldn't make the situation worse by letting celebrities feel justified in adding deadweight to the industry and sucking up attention and opportunities that would have otherwise gone to people who have dedicated their lives to making
This
unique
shit sound like you're
and
reading a
innovative
fucking-
clothes. That's the end of the video.
Like a
Goodbye.
disclaimer at the end of the movie.
One short video to cleanse the entire.
Anyways, hope you guys like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.